Welcome to my podcast, guys. If you are here to work on your relationship with your child, then you are for sure in the right space, because you will always have to work on your relationship with yourself. And this is what I offer here on my podcast. So if you listen to my podcast and hear things that are not obviously related to your son, listen on, because whatever you improve in your relationship with yourself will automatically improve all of your relationships, including with your son. So welcome and enjoy. Hi everyone, how are you all doing? Is it getting warm where you are? It's getting warm here and everything's almost melted. I am so happy we can now ski and bike, which is pretty great. And I'm so excited. We have kids break next week. And actually, my parents are going to fly out from Toronto if everything goes well, if there's no COVID obstacles. And we have a huge week of celebrating my second son's birthday. And actually, we're going to celebrate my dad's birthday, which is shortly after. And so I am just so excited. I've been planning all week, the dinner menu plan and the birthday, like all the meal plans and all the decorations. And I'm just all kind of excited and anticipating and a little bit overwhelmed, but mostly from excitement. So that's what's exciting here. And also, what I want to talk to you today about is something that's been so helpful for me in my marriage. And I wanted to offer it to you as a way of contributing to your family, like well-being and good relationships. And the same thing really applies with your kids, your son. I have done the same exact technique with my son. But last night I did it with my husband, and it was super helpful. And the thing is, what I told him was that I said, I love you too much to keep talking about this. And this situation was one of the situations where you both are not in a great place to have like a friendly conversation. You're both tired. It's late, and you start talking, and there's some. It looks like it's gonna be a fight, right? So it's the momentum starts building, not a good momentum, and I contributed to that for sure, because I had resistance to what he was saying. I was like, oh my God, I don't like what he's saying. I don't like how he's saying it, blah, 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 right? And there was nothing really going on. Like he wasn't even a fight at that point. We were just discussing things. And what I noticed that resistance in myself, and I felt like, okay, like it's not going away. And also I didn't feel like it was worth me working on it, because I wasn't disagreeing with him. I was just more tired myself and not having the best reaction to him. And he was very passionate about what he was talking about. So I'm like, well, it's fine that he keeps thinking this. It's not worth it for me to fight it. So in the spirit of not continuing the momentum of this kind of conversation, which was not going in a good place, I decided to pull a plug on it. I was like, I love you. I don't disagree with you. And I love you too much. I'm going to go, right? And he didn't accept it well at that moment. But because I was so certain of it for myself, I was like, it's okay. And I love you. I love us so much that I don't want to continue this momentum for it to end up in a fight. And this is huge, because we have these ideas about how, sometimes people say, don't go to bed mad, or don't go to bed like while you're still fighting. And sometimes I think we need to break those concepts, those beliefs, and because sometimes they don't serve us. Whenever I've applied that, it always ended up in a bigger, longer fight than it ever needed to be. And the next morning we were both like, well, that was for nothing, and I love you, right? I'm sorry. So that has, I think it's so worth us questioning what it is we believe about like how it should go in the evening with our spouse. And the same thing I've done with my son, where sometimes if there's a tensions building and I don't see it worth kind kind of resolving at this moment, like if it's about nothing, right? If it's about any substance that needs to be discussed, I always am sure to be there, and we always talk it through. But if it's about nothing and it's more about you feel the reaction and you feel like it's going to end up in a fight, some people do it naturally, right? They're like, just cool off and talk about later. But it definitely was not the case for me and my husband earlier in our marriage. And so it's like a huge win for me to get to this place where I feel like I'm being sucked in, but I don't want to be. And I'm like, no, I love us so much to create this right now for us. And I'm just going to go away because I love us. I want to leave us in a good place so that we can revisit it tomorrow when we're rested, when we're cooled down. And it's so much more clear, like there's nothing to be like arguing about, right? And I think the other belief that I had to break in order to get to this place, and some of you might have that because I know other people have that, is what a marriage should look like. And I used to think a marriage is like, wow, well, in the end of the day, when you put the kids to bed, you chat and you talk about your day and you comfort each other and you give each other advice and you just like connect and spend time together and have quality time. And really, I had to let that one go because it wasn't serving us in any way. In fact, it was creating a lot of like fights, right? Because what we actually really wanted and needed, and my husband led the way in that. He's like, this is the only time I have to myself to just be and relax and be alone. And I was like, well, let's connect and talk. And he's like, I don't feel like talking, right? And so I had to let that one go for me, and I still have to do conscious work to remind myself that this template of how a marriage should look like is just a template that is completely unrelated and not adjusted to our family and our individual needs. And really, it's just something that I had in my head, and I think this is how it should be. And when I look at the reality of when I do follow what we do need and want, is that the marriage that we have is so much happier and more healthy for both of us when I just allow him to be him and I don't ask for anything that he doesn't want to do, right? And I'm like, okay, if you want to be alone, that's totally fine. And we did have to do work to find other times to connect, which is a conscious effort, again, to find those moments in the day when you are more rested and you have more to give and you want to give your best self to your spouse. And it is an effort to connect in the middle of the day when he's busy with his work, I'm busy with my work. So it's so worth exploring what it is for you. And I know that some people, like I've talked to, that have that idea of a marriage, that connecting in the evening. And for us, having 4 kids totally exposed that one to us right away because we were exhausted. So the worst thing that we could do is try to talk in the evening because we were just so tired that we'd be grumpy and we just end up arguing about nothing. So I really love the kind of like challenging the ideas we have to really go against the rules, go against what you think the marriage should look like. And that will make you happier in your marriage, in your personal life, and will help you be the parent that you want to be and have a really good relationship with your son. Because again, the same thing you can do with your kids, like what it is that you think a good mom should do might not be what it is that you would want to do as a good mom because it doesn't work for you. You would maybe want to adjust it. So again, just challenging those ideas that you have of what your life should look like. And so it all boils down to, I love you too much to keep talking right now, right? Crazy, right? Because we always think, well, if I love him or if he loves me, he should talk to me. If I love him, I should keep talking. Sometimes it's true, but also question that. Sometimes it's not true. Sometimes when the momentum keeps building into a negative direction that does not feel good, it's so good to let go and just say, like, it's counterproductive, right? in order for us to connect, I'm going to leave right now, right? It's not very direct, not very obvious, or not very rational, right? So that's what I have for you today, guys. I love you all so much, and I hope that you are always looking for ways to make your relationships better, feel more love for your husband and your kids. And if you keep looking for those answers, you will always find them. And I'm happy to be an example of what is possible here for you, even if it's not always perfect. But I always love finding tiny little things that make a huge impact in our lives. So have a great week. I love you. Bye.